There we go. All good.
Okay. So we'll call the meeting to order at 7:03. Can I have a motion to accept the agenda, please?
So moved.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can I have a second? I guess that was Blythe.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
There was nothing anybody needed to add or anything, right? I should have asked that. Sorry. Approval of the minutes from the regular commission meeting of February 7th. Did you have a chance to look those over?
Yes.
No.
Right. We can put that on the next agenda and we'll have two to approve. Jared, any correspondence?
No correspondence to note.
Okay. Anything to add to your director's report?
Nothing to add to it, but I would like to touch on a few points if that's okay.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm just having some issues with my mouse here. All right, so yeah, I just briefly wanted to go over ASP because obviously that will be something that's a topic for this evening. But things have gone really well. So I've run it now for the past few weeks and it is going really well. And I'd just like to give a shout out to Miranda Lovato and Anna Durham for they each came a day to help me out. And it was definitely great getting their opinions and their methodology, and I was able to apply a lot of that, and things are going really well. It's been pretty organized. I've spoken with Michelle over at the school and she said, everything's going smoothly. So I'm very pleased with it. And we've definitely noticed a little uptick in the numbers since we've kind of gotten things running smoothly again. So that was good. The first few days it was, 6 or 7 kids, then we got up into the double digits. So I think, word spreading that like, hey, we're running it and, things are cohesive. So, but yeah, otherwise it's going really well. And I'm basically caught up with all the billing and everything. So all good with ASP. Did anyone have any questions about it? I know obviously it was tumultuous for a little bit there. So if there are any questions, happy to answer. Right. Cool. Excellent. The only other thing I really wanted to talk about that won't be discussed today is I've been really kind of hammering hard on trying to get back into the 21st century with the website, with email, with social media. So kind of revamped the Facebook page, been posting to it almost every day. And it seems to be working very well, especially when our posts are shared on the community page on Facebook. If you're an administrator, you could see how many views you've gotten. So a lot of our posts are getting well over 1,000 views, which is very good. And a lot of interaction, a lot of shares. And I think that's kind of helping us spread the word, and certainly been evident with the registrations we got for basketball. We're up close to 60 kids, and our open skate, we had over 50 participants as well. So I think word is getting out there, and I'm currently in the process in constant contact. I made a sign up for an email distribution list for Parks and Rec, and I'm gonna post it. It's already scheduled to go up on Facebook tomorrow. Basically, someone clicks a link, takes them to a form. The form says, hey, sign our email list. And then after they complete the email list, there's a button they can click to go to our Facebook page, and they can join it as well if they're not obviously joining from Facebook already. But I know you all have a lot of different connections, Blythe with the school, and Abigail, I know you're on a lot of committees. So if you guys would be interested, I'd be happy to send you that link so you can share it however you see fit. Because we have like 70 people on the email list right now. We certainly should, be able to get within the next few weeks into the several hundreds and really start to keep people in the know about everything we're doing, because email blasts, that's just the way it is these days. So, and then lastly, I have been talking with Lynn and working with Don't tell me her name. She's the town clerk.
Darlene.
Darlene.
Sorry.
Ah, man. I kept thinking Denise, but I knew that wasn't it. Yes, Darlene. And hopefully the plan will sooner rather than later be to upgrade our website, probably get away from using that third-party site that we currently have and locate the main crux of the website back on the town page. And then ideally in the future, we can discuss online registration and incorporating that into our webpage. You know, all this will take some time, but hopefully within the next year, we'll be able to knock that all out. So those are the things I've been working on that we're not going to touch elsewhere in the meeting. But yeah, ASP is going really well. And I think we're making a web presence once again. So really good. If you guys have any questions, I'm all
Jared.
ears.
Julia's waiting. Can you let her in?
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right.
Look at that. And Rufus.
I would
Not
just
used to
say,
this
good job on the
part.
social media. Social media takes a lot of time and energy. It's not just take a picture and throw it up there. So good job for that. And yeah, just keep anything that you'd like to be circulated around. I'm happy to do that up here.
Awesome.
We have a lot of very happy families with little kids here now, which is terrific.
Great. Would you like me to, as you know, as we create flyers, Blythe, send them your way or?
Yes, absolutely. Just put me on the list. Yep.
Awesome.
Same with, whatever you're circulating, include me, and if there are people that you're not hitting, I'll let you know.
Okay. Awesome. Great. Thank you, Abigail.
Chair, this is Sasha. You can also, from Scribble, you can also send it to me. We have a big mailing list for Kent. So
Okay, cool.
we can share, and we'll share out anything that you guys are.
Awesome.
planning.
After the meeting, I'll email everybody the link for the email list and a little blurb if you want to, share
Okay.
that, and we'll go from there. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Good job, Jared. Monthly budget report.
All right. Me also. So I included the monthly budget report in what I attached to the Google invite thing. I don't really know what it's called actually. Unfortunately, it's not going to be very accurate. So a bunch of things as I've looked through it were incorrectly appropriated. So, and Barbara actually had brought that to my attention. She said, as you go through it, you're going to see that. And I did see just that. So I'm going to have to go through this and, write a memo to Barbara of the things that need to be rectified. But, for example, if you guys look at our income for July 21 through January 22, for rec classes, it says $10,339. And then for our expenses during that same time, it is, I just have to look for it. There we go. Well, I can't find it quickly, but it's over 10,000 as well. Those numbers aren't accurate because basically what that is that's all the money we took in for the ski and snowboard club. And then all the money we then sent to Mohawk for the ski and snowboard club. So the way Barbara explained it to me is programs like that, actually, when the money's deposited, they get deposited into almost, I guess you'd say like a holding account. And then basically there's this account, it's holding on to all the money we took in. And then when we write our checks to Mohawk, which is basically for 90% of the program, that money comes out of that holding account and the balance then gets deposited into our revenue. So our expenditures, there's no expenditures actually, because the money just came out of those checks that people wrote, and our intake is actually far less. So I haven't even crunched the numbers yet, but the 10,000 in revenue is not accurate, and the 12,000 that from expenditures is also not accurate. So unfortunately, right now I don't have a ton I'm able to report on this, but I can tell you that we have about 60 kids signed up for basketball at $5 a pop. So we took in about $300, and we had our first morning of open skate, and we took in a little over $200. Same thing, $5 a pop. We had slightly over 50 people, but some of them were the family pass. Did anybody have any more detailed questions that I either need to look into or can possibly address?
All good?
Moving right along.
Anything else, Jared?
Not budget wise, no.
Okay. Okay, public comment. I'm not sure who's here. So we'll move down to the ASP Director Search Update. And we have a presentation from Scribble, the new business in town regarding that. We have Joanne here with us. Hi, Joanne.
Hi.
So whenever
And-
you'd like.
Well, we have Sasha,
Oh,
Schwartz,
okay.
who's the founder and CEO. I'm the one who's been talking to Jared, but I think she'll start presenting tonight.
Terrific. Hi, Sasha.
Hi, guys. It's nice to meet everybody. Should I share my screen and I can share, we can all look at the proposal together?
Sure. Jared, I
Okay.
think you might have to allow her.
I
Okay.
think I have permission.
Okay. Cool.
I've broken in somehow. Oh, sorry. I just had this off. I don't know why it went away. 1 second, sorry.
So while
You want me
Sasha's
to-
doing that, I'll just give
Am I?
everybody a quick background. I think everyone should be in the loop by now, but if not, so basically,
Yeah,
I think it goes without saying that it's been a struggle to find any consistent leader of the after-school program. And Joanne had been discussing it with our first selectman, Jean, and Jean had mentioned, oh, you know, what about having Scribble potentially do something with the after-school program or vice versa. And so we had a meeting the other day with Michelle from the school. She seemed interested in it as well. So that's when, you know, speaking with Joanne and Sasha, I figured we were ready for the next step, which would be for them to discuss it with the commission on a whole and, you know, see what everyone thinks. So.
okay, sorry about that delay. Thanks for making a nice segue for me, Jared.
No problem.
Okay, so looking at the proposal, basically, just if you don't know a lot about us, we just opened a studio in Kent, in Kent Green, right next to the kitchen place and where the taco place used to be. We have another studio in Westchester, and we had a studio also in Manhattan until the pandemic, and then we closed it. But out of all of those studios we've run, not Kent yet, because we just opened like 2 weeks ago, but we've run after school programming out of all those studios. And in addition to that, we've also worked with schools and become essentially their after school program in Manhattan at a bunch of different schools. So we have experience doing this. And when I heard about the potential opportunity, we were really excited just to make a really nice diverse after school program for Kent Center School kids. So basically we're going to be serving all grades. So grades K to 8. We're thinking that it would probably skew lower. So like the K to 4 kids, and then middle schoolers, we'd have to target with very specific classes because according to Michelle, they just haven't had as much participation. We talked about starting in mid-March and going to the end of the school year and offering the classes every day, Monday through Friday until 5:30, basically doing what you all do currently. We were hoping to actually bring them to the studio because we thought it would be really nice and a special experience for the kids to be able to walk from school with obviously our teacher and our site manager. From school, walk them to the studio. They would start their afternoon with like an open time where they could have snack, homework help, and play games and hang out and socialize. And then they would go into a daily activity. So you can see like below the daily flow, there's daily activities. So Monday would be printmaking, Tuesday would be nature play, Wednesday would be toy design, Thursday sculpture, and then Friday yoga or movement. And basically what we're essentially proposing is that in addition to actually offering the program, we would also help manage it. So we would be able to design and distribute the any flyers or posters for promotion of the programming. We could handle all the registration because we have a really robust registration program that like does automatic payments and just takes care of all of that in terms of registering kids. And then we'd have our dedicated, basically our liaison for parents also service the KCS students. So any parent that had a question about how to register or what to register for, or what our classes are about, could contact them, and that would be their direct contact. And then also we would hire, it would be our teachers, our staff. And then obviously, and we would order all the supplies and manage the whole budget for supplies and staff. I think that that's it. Oh, there's more. So in addition to that, we also have just the benefit of a robust management staff. So in addition to being our school and community programs manager, Joanne is also our instructional leader. So she's the person that coaches and evaluates our teachers. So for now, that wouldn't be that big of a deal because our goal was to keep this small for the spring and then hope to expand the amount of kids that we could serve in the fall. But she would also be there just to make sure that we have high quality. And then we were hoping for some sort of end of the year celebration or exhibit for families somewhere in Kent. So a big part of our program in every location has been to create an exhibit at the end, like a big, large scale exhibit for the community. And there are some really nice locations, obviously in Kent, some really nice gallery space that we were hoping to. We've already like made connections with different museum and the gallerists just to talk about potentially using their spaces, but we thought it would be a really great way to bridge everybody in the community and celebrate the kids that participate in the program. We discussed with our meeting with Michelle that we would potentially, if this all works out, start small. So this year, the target would be 20 students, and they would all go to the studio. And next year, we could aim for a larger program with more partners. So like, I think that we should be engaging other activities and partners. And I think Jared agrees. So in some way, the spring would sort of be like a pilot program to sort of test the relationship and make and work out the kinks, because there are going to be just like weird things of like who's responsible for this or who's responsible for this. And it would give us an opportunity to have a small scale program to work all of that, smooth out anything like that. And then in the fall, we could branch out and essentially become a larger program and have some kids at the school and some kids come to the studio, and that could switch on like a daily basis so that everyone gets to go to the studio a couple of times a week and everybody gets to like do other activities at the school. The one thing that I didn't touch on was the financial aspect of this. So currently you guys are charging $11 a day for students. So we would charge $18 per day per student, but that would include our programming plus the management of the programming. And we talked with Michelle and Jared. Do you want to chime in here just about how we saw you guys coming in and compensating for that difference potentially?
Yeah, well, I can't speak for the commission, but I think a discussion would certainly need to take place regarding, if we're basically contracting with Scribble and where we're no longer paying any run the program, and instead you guys are the staff that's running the program, the commission will, I believe, should most definitely take that into consideration in determining whether or not there is a possibility for us to subsidize the program. Considering that what we would normally pay to run the program is to our staff, we no longer have those staff. Now, obviously that is a discussion that certainly it hasn't taken place yet, but I think it's something that definitely should. But like I said, I can't speak for the commission. However, I think that's something we should keep in mind, because this is, in my opinion, it's a good opportunity.
Yeah, I think the goal is like basically not to pass on that increase to families as much as we possibly can. So whatever,
agreed.
whatever you guys can subsidize between that $11 and $18, I think is gonna be helpful in keeping the families that you already have and not putting any financial burden on them. And then also being inclusive and making sure that other people sign up. Yeah. Does anyone have questions?
Well, I'll just real quick, just piggyback on Sasha's presentation, and Joanne can speak to this, but every time we discuss the program, I was probably the thorn in their side, saying, I think it's really important that the kids don't have, 100% all scheduled programmed activities. They need, after school, they need to be able to have some movement. They need to be able to free play. I'm a huge proponent of, I think kids have a lot of structure in their life, almost at times too much. And sometimes it's good where they can let their hair down. And I think, Joanne and Sasha, have definitely touched on this here. If they're going to the studio, they get to walk outside, and when they get there, they get kind of their time to do their own thing before they're reined in again. And that's similar to how I've actually been doing it the past few weeks. And it seems to work pretty well. I think it's good to give the kids that time. And I do believe Joanne and Sasha certainly, that was my major concern, and they definitely addressed it. So that's all I have to say.
Wait, Blythe, you're muted, but I think you wanted to say something.
I do. I have a question about the space.
Sure.
So the first is just, you mentioned kind of some outdoor activity. I don't know what access you have to what space over there. If I'm
Mhm.
thinking about that space, what would you have for the kids to walk around? And then I
Mhm.
also wonder also about just any kind of licensure that might be required to be able to have elementary school kids in kind of a pseudo town sponsored
Mhm.
program, and have those kids be covered.
Okay, so in terms of the licensure situation, we've looked into this for Connecticut because obviously we're new to Connecticut, and we're basically exempted based on how many hours we have them per week. Like, we're not considered an official childcare organization because we don't have them for enough hours per day per week. And so we're exempted in terms of that. We do have insurance, and you guys, like, if we do partner, you can dictate whatever the limits of that insurance need to be, and we can have our insurance carrier create a certificate of insurance and send it over to you guys. So we do that with every school that we partner with, and different schools have different insurance requirements. So whatever you guys would require, we could do. What was your other question? Oh, this
The outside
space.
space, yeah.
Okay, so John Casey is our landlord, and he has like made it clear that any of the outdoor space that he has, we can have access to. We're actually planning on potentially behind the space, so behind that building, you know how there's the sculpture park building, but in between us is actually his land. So we were actually talking to him about building out more of like not a permanent structure out there, but a more permanent structure, especially given the after school program and the fact that we're running summer camp this summer. We need more of a permanent protected space from rain and shade. And so we were planning on building something out there, whether it's like, those like sails that you can like mount up and protect from sun. And then we would put a bunch of like picnic tables back there and make it sort of like an outdoor studio. So we're planning on doing something like that. So I would say at minimum, it would be like going to the green with a drop cloth and like plopping down there and bringing drawing boards and like making artwork out there, or having snack time out there or homework help out there with a smaller group. And at maximum, which is very, very possible, it would be like a more structured outdoor space that we just like set up somewhere near our building.
I think you'd probably need to look at a fence around the space just for safety.
Right.
But,
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
that's awesome. I'm already picturing it in my head.
good. Picture away. Yeah, no, me and my husband have been like, what can we build out there? There's also like, interestingly, in the back of our space, there's like a window that goes right out to the back. And we've been talking about just changing that into a door so that there's like another egress right outside to the back that we could potentially use. So it'd be easier for our teachers to get in and out and get supplies and access to a refrigerator and just things like that. So it's definitely something that we're seriously considering, and it's not like that big of a lift considering the other stuff that we've done in there. So yeah, it's definitely something we value. I mean, I want the kids outdoors as much as possible, though our space is really beautiful and I think they'll really enjoy being in it. I think being outside is really, really important for kids, especially when they've been like in a school all day. So
Second that.
yeah, it's just something we are definitely going to build in to this.
I have one question, John Grant here. Listen, transportation, who would pay for that?
We would walk. So
Even on a day,
what?
even on a rainy day?
Yeah, I think as long as they have raincoats, and I mean, I think that we talked to Michelle about this, and I think like on certain days, if it's like snowing, like if it's really unsafe, they could provide transportation, and Michelle talked to us about this, but I think generally like they'd be okay to walk. Joanne did the test walk and it took like 11 minutes or something.
Unless it's, sorry, this is Julia Neff. Unless it's really awful outside and windy and like dangerous, then the kids are still taking mass breaks outside every day, as long as they can. So I think that they're used to it. Like they're happy to walk in the rain or whatever.
Mhm.
Hey, Sasha and Joanne, this is Mike. Thank you for your presentation. I was just curious what your, aside from this program, what your kind of business plan for the program was, assuming that, you weren't going to partner with the Parks and Rec department.
I think it would just be what it is at all of our studios, which is basically we offer after school classes. We offer classes for all ages. So we have toddler classes there. We have preschool classes. We have time for open studio. So we have sensory open play for toddlers to like go and play with materials. On the weekends, we have drop-in programming for kids to come and like buy art kits and then use them in the studio as long as they want. We're going to offer birthday parties, summer camp, schools out workshops, which are basically like today we had one and it was full, which was nice. So like when school is closed, we offer an art workshop from 9 to 3. So it's just a place for kids to go and be creative and hang out with their friends for the day. And then the other part of our program, which is really important, is that we are also training and developing art teachers to go out into schools. So like at our we have a Westchester studio, and then we have about 30 satellite Westchester schools that we work with. So we send our teachers out to those schools and they offer after school programming, in-school programming, professional development for art teachers, professional development for early childhood educators. And we're aiming to do something similar here. So we've already like reached out to a bunch of school districts here and started partnering and talking about partnerships in Connecticut.
Thank you. And can anyone comment about our average attendance against the 20 students a day that the presentation asked for?
I can. So, Mike, just going back, speaking with Miranda and speaking with Anna, they both reported that the attendance was much higher prior to everything kind of going haywire. So they were telling me that we were getting somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 to 14. every day. When I first started, like I said, it was like 7, but we've been consistently getting around 10 or 11 every day for the past few days, I think, as word spread that we're having, like someone emailed me and they're like, wait, this is still going on. And I was like, yeah, it's still going on. So I think the constant shuffle over the past few months really sent numbers down. I think parents found alternatives, especially there was like 1 week where we weren't able to run it at all. This was, prior to me starting. So, like I said, back when it was more consistent, people, from what Miranda and Anna told me, we were, in that, 12 to 14 neighborhood.
Oh, thanks, Jared. Okay, so
Yeah.
so once we figure out our expected student attendance, then if that's less than 20, we would assume that we would be also subsidizing that gap to get to the 20 student level.
Yeah, that's
if I'm
correct.
understanding that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's correct. Also, Michelle was she was very confident that we could get 20 kids. Just if that allays any fears. I mean, it is a risk, but
I was
I
just
would-
gonna add
Sorry,
as
Joanne.
well. I'm sorry. I was just gonna add as well, we're also offering classes where kids don't have to stay the full time. So if there are families that are interested in signing their children up for just the art part of it, they would get picked up at the school, a little bit of homework help, a snack, but then they can get picked up earlier after that part at 5 p.m. instead of 5:30. So it's really geared towards real enrichment for the kids, where they're just actively doing things the whole time. So we're hoping that that's really going to attract more people to want to sign up for it.
I'll piggyback off that real quick just to say, I think in our meeting with Michelle, she likened ASP to a babysitting service, which I've heard a number of people say. And I think this being an enrichment program, along with after school care, I think it will, not only certainly be attractive to the people who are already taking advantage of it, but it will also attract, just more people by the very nature of the program. I think, in my opinion, I can't say that for sure, but I just my experience has taught me that something like this will definitely attract more than than just the people who are currently taking advantage of the program.
So I don't know if you're all aware of the way that after school program currently is modeled. And it's geared towards being incredibly flexible. So parents sign up the day of, and it's more, if somebody needs help, they sign up the day of. And so not saying that, we couldn't try to have people sign up a day before, but that's how the service is offered right now. So it may, I'm 100% excited about this idea. I'm just thinking through a few pieces of why this is an essential service for some families, and how it is an essential service for some families. And that is, I think one bit is that they can sign up the day of if they are thrown for a loop and can't pick their kids up. So there's a little bit of unpredictability to how that goes. And there was another, I think that's pretty much that's a big one that I just didn't know if you were aware of.
Yeah, we definitely are aware. And it's
Okay.
definitely a distinction. So we can I think that in terms of accommodating a child that's in our program on some day and they need to add Thursday this week for some reason, I would have no problem doing that. But I think the nature of people signing up last minute or not signing up because they can't afford it that week, or they need to save the money that week, I don't think that we're going to be able to operate that way, just because it really diminishes the program in terms of having any continuity in within a in terms of the community, like creating a community. I think like the most successful programs that we've run after school wise, truly like you walk in and it feels like a family. Like the younger kids know the older kids that are going to be there every day. They feel nurtured by them. They hold hands with that person, like walking from school. When they get there, they know who they're sitting with. It just becomes this little familial. It's also like a reason why a lot of progressive schools mix class, like have mixed age classes, because that's just naturally what happens and what occurs. And it's such a great model for after school programming. I'm not sure if it's always a great model for in-school programming, but for after school, it just works so well in terms of like helping them get snack and helping them open their things and having that continuity of kids. And Jared, we all talked about this at our last meeting with Michelle, that like, if parents are looking at the scope of like, okay, for the rest of the year, it's going to cost me $200 to do Mondays from March until June. They'd have to commit to that, but we also have a lot of flexibility in the way that we charge them because of our registration system. We could charge them by the week. We could charge them by the month. There's a lot of flexibility in how they can pay. They could pay basically any way that works for them. And we also have like our person that does all of our client relations management. She could be the one that's talking to people if they have any payment issues. But I think that that's just, yeah, it's definitely a difference. And it's just something that I think we're going to have to, I don't know, you guys are going to have to decide if it's like worth making that adjustment and just requiring more commitment from families with a higher quality programming.
Yeah, I think that it's just a good implication for us to understand as we try to, weigh this decision.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's definitely, you're seeking consistency, regular signups, predictability, and that ensures the success of the program.
Mm-hmm. That's right. But I do want to say that I also think that it's important to have flexibility in the sense that like, if these are regular students and they need to add an extra day, we're open to doing that because that's a service to the community. And that's what we're ultimately seeking to do. Anybody
Anyone have any more questions?
It's exciting. Thank you.
Yeah. We will discuss this and we will have Jared get back to you.
All right, great. Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome to
Thanks
stay.
so much.
Thank you
Sasha
both for
and
coming on. I
Joanne,
really appreciate it.
Bye.
just before you leave,
Mhm.
timing, I know that you said something about having this, there was a date here of 3/14.
Mhm.
How long do you need to organize yourselves? Like when would we need to have a decision for you? So you could
March
organize yourselves.
14th, I would say ideally within the next week, just because we
Okay.
need to prepare staff. The March 14th date was a date that we chose with Michelle because it gave us enough time before their spring break to have the kids settle into a routine. But it's also not like set in stone also. So we just thought it would work well for the kids and the breaks that are coming up. But
Okay.
yeah, we're flexible. All right. Thank you guys so much.
Can I
Thank
ask a quick
Thanks for
question?
coming, guys.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, Rufus.
So when you talk about your staff, how much staff do you have? Like how many people would be
Yes.
there during the time that the kids are there?
So we have a 10-to-1 ratio. So we'll have one teacher and then one studio manager. So she'll be the person that is like there if a parent calls and they're running late, she'll also be there to assist the class. Yeah,
Thank you.
no problem. All right, guys, thank you. Let us know if you have any other questions. We're
Thanks.
around. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to Kent.
Thank you. Come visit.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Yeah, come visit. We'll see you soon.
Awesome.
Does anybody want to discuss that now? Do we want to put it on the next agenda for 2 weeks?
Do we
Can
have?
I just say,
Oh,
oh,
go
sorry,
ahead.
Blythe, you go.
I was just gonna say, do we have access to a couple of months worth of attendance records or anything? I mean, to me, the only potential stumbling block here is the learning curve for parents in terms of, how many people we may have problems with who want to kind of be that everyday. I only want to figure out day to day if I need this, because this is not going to serve the everyday, the day-to-day people. But I wonder if we have any kind of attendance records where we can see how many of the kids, the 15-ish kids who come every week are regulars 5 days a week or 4 days a week or whatever they could commit to, versus how many of them are the drop-ins, the in and outs, these kinds of things, so that we could get an idea. Because if it's primarily that families are, assessing their needs in the morning and then kind of making a last minute decision, then we're going to have a little bit of an uphill climb here.
I do have attendance logs and I can certainly go through them. But determining when people made their decision, I'll have to have a conversation with Megan and Mary. Rufus, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'll have to discuss that with them. They would know better than I, but just in brief discussions with them, I would say it's probably around 50-50. There are certain children who they know every day that they're coming, or they know what days that they're coming on. And then there are other ones that get added late, or I'll see their name on the list, but then they get crossed off. So it does seem to be about 50-50 at this point in time.
Is there any thought to the fact that since we've had kind of sporadic staffing, that we have room in the budget to kind of treat this March to June period as a trial period that we have funds for? Do people kind of follow my thinking there? Because I know we have to figure out, can we get the 20 kids, and we're charging 11 versus the 20. But this is such kind of a unique opportunity. Is it worth kind of going forward on this March to June and figuring out?
I did a little math.
Yeah.
The difference is $7. So if we subsidize, again, I just did this quick, the whole thing at 20 people, 20 kids, that's $140. That comes out to $9,800 for 14 weeks. It could be 12 weeks. I did March, April, May, and 2 weeks in June.
What did you say?
And we don't have the
sorry.
budget in front of us as far as what we have in our kind of ASP.
We don't have
Bucket.
$10,000.
Okay.
That would not be really justified, I don't think. We have some, we need to get some picnic tables from Repark and replace them, or if we choose to replace them, and we need to do some work on the sheds down at the ball field, I believe.
The question I guess I actually have a few concerns, but just since we're on this topic, because we would not be paying the program director or the program assistants, which we currently have 2 assistants a day plus the director. So that's 28 plus 21. So we're paying about $50 a day for staff. Is that, well, I mean, not including me at this point, but if there were a director, we would be paying that person. Is that something that can be used to subsidize this, or no?
Well, I
Not
would
really.
assume that's in the budget. If we're paying, that must be in the budget for ASP. One
Yes,
would
but
think.
we're also not getting the income. So it would cost us about $10,000. So
And sorry, Lynn, that's what in making up the difference of $11 to $18, that's
correct, based on 20 kids, 5 days a week at 14 weeks. I mean, yes, I guess since we haven't paid those out of the hourly salary line, the money may be in there.
Well, this is through January 2022. We've paid $6,000. I'm just using ballpark numbers here. $6,000 of a budgeted 46,000.
Yeah, so the money is in that line.
Just to go off on a tangent here, I have a very, and I think Joanne and Sasha probably already know this. I love what they're presenting, and I like every concern that was echoed by Blythe, by Abigail. I also have those similar concerns, and being a part of the program these past few weeks, I love how, and I just can't articulate this, and I can't say this enough, the flexibility and the freedom that the program currently offers these kids is super important. I mean, most of them, and I believe, I'm not sure if anybody here ran the program at any point in time, but I'm sure Rufus, Anna probably shared with you, they are ready, they get to ASP and they are ready to burst. They need to run around and they need to get it out, and they need the free play and the lack of structure, because all day long they've been in that. And I do think that they've definitely addressed some of that, but I don't know with some of these children if they're going to necessarily be interested in this program. This is a very specific program. And I mean, I've never run an after school program before, so I'm just kind of sharing my thoughts. You guys have much more experience at this point than I do, but I don't know. I love it. And at the same time, I feel like it isn't for everyone. And Abigail made a really good point that the way we run this program is that it can be for anyone. And I don't know if their program is going to offer that. I don't know. I'm rambling here because I really haven't wrapped my head around it yet.
Well, I think that the asset that this offers us is it's a plug and play designed. They take it all on. We struggle keeping this program going. It is something that we spend a lot of time trying to do. And so they're taking that off our plate. But, you know, as you're saying, it's also pretty curated and designed to a certain interest. And that's not going to be for everybody. And it's also something that you have to commit to earlier in the week, or even, you know, on a weekly or a monthly basis. And so that's also difficult. So, you know, the real amazing part is that it's a prepackaged, fully managed after school program. I wish we could get some sort of nonprofit to do something like that for us at KCS that could offer us the flexibility and use the outdoor space, especially during the spring. I don't know if there's any nonprofits, but I you know, I think that there's some hurdles with this one, and particularly the difference in the price.
Yeah,
I mean,
Go ahead.
Rufus.
I was just interested because I know that the ratio for ASP was 1:8, and I didn't know whether that was predicated on like a school, Connecticut school kid programs, whether that was.
I think it's in state statutes. The
So-
age goes by the ratio.
I don't know how they could, you know, go to 1 to 10.
And they're also not a school function, so that may be different. Not that, I
Right.
mean, technically we're not, but
I mean, I don't know, you know, I think the after school program really kicked in when the congregational church program sort of bellied up.
say more about that, Rufus?
Well, the Congregational Church used to have an after-school program. And so kids would get bused from school up to the church and be let out. And I don't, that was a long time ago. Like when my kids were little and stuff like that. So, I think the Park and Rec after school program picked up after that program kind of fell by the wayside, or the church decided it wasn't worth it for them to do it. I'm a little concerned about the lack of being able to run around in quite a bit of open space. There's not that much outdoor space available at the green. I mean, I think it's great because the emphasis is on arts and other things like that. But I think you'd have to look carefully at the numbers and which kids sign up 5 days a week versus a couple days a week or whatever. And then are they committed? They're committed to those days, but these guys want 20 every day, I'm assuming. The only other, I don't know whether we've offered, I don't know, Lynn or John could speak to this. Kent Community Fund may have helped scholarships for some families with
They have.
costs.
Yeah, there's at least 2 families right now who are taking advantage of that service.
Yeah.
I'm still going through that end of the paperwork. It could even be more. But Lynn and I both kind of in the past few months have ascertained that.
I'll say for myself, I was really excited about this when I saw that maybe it was kind of the answer to the prayer in terms of, okay, we've had all these troubles with ASP and the staffing, and if somebody was going to kind of just come in and run it, and for everybody. But, I wish them well as a program, but I don't see them serving the population that we know, the full population of the people that we know, the families that we know who are involved in ASP. So, if they wanted to offer up their program and have, 4 or 5 of the ASP kids say, oh my God, this is perfect for my kid, and we're going to enroll them from March to June, and those kids drop out of ASP. I don't know how we feel about that, but I just don't see this being a replacement for ASP if we are in fact going to be committed to the families who need to have more flexibility in their scheduling.
Yeah, I feel like personally I'm struggling with it because there's, I mean, Lynn already knows this because we talk every day, but I'm giving about 20 hours of my week right now to ASP, or 15, I should say. And it's a lot of time, so I feel like there's this part of me that's like, yes, someone's going to do it. This is great. Now I can get back to all the work that like I just finished the minutes this morning, 3 weeks after they're supposed to be done. Or 2 weeks, I should say. So I think there's that part of me, but I think also when I stop and think about it, and having been, like I said, involved with these kids now for over two weeks, which isn't a ton of time, but it feels like I know them all pretty well at this point. I definitely, echo those concerns. So I have like the 2 angels on my shoulder, one saying like, yes, give it to them, and the other saying, hold up, a lot of unanswered questions. And like I said, I can't articulate it all very well, but I definitely echo your concerns, Blythe.
And, they may find that if they offer this program, they're only going to get a small number of kids who are coming out of the school at the end of the day, and that they have to change their business model a little bit. But I think it's hard for us to abandon those families and just say, this is your new option. Good luck.
I agree. It would satisfy our problem of finding somebody to cover, but it could create other problems, not problems, just the differences.
So I would like to propose that we do a survey of the families at KCS about after-school program and understand what the needs really are to help inform any future decisions we make about ASP, because I know that since I've been on the commission, I've thought it's amazing that we offer the flexibility that we offer. And also, I don't know if I've ever heard of anything like that before. And so I think it would be good to take the pulse of the community and understand what the needs really are and the degree to which the flexibility is essential, the day of, whether people are just looking for every day, having somewhere for their kid to go because they work until 5. And I'm happy to help write that survey. But I think it would really help us make future decisions, especially because ASP is something that we find really difficult to staff. And there's an implication here that Jared has less hours to dedicate to his job as director when he's running ASP. Not trying to take it off the table in any way, just trying to get more information from the community of what the need is.
I would just like to say, just to make sure it's totally clear, I love running ASP. I could do it every day and you would not hear a peep out of me. It was just simply just a point of fact that it was, because I actually plan for it every day, before I go, I write up a plan of what I'm going to do for the day. And so I just want it to be known, I do love it. I do love it. So, but just a lot of hours sometimes, at the end of the week, when you're trying to catch up on everything. So
I don't know if they'd be, amenable to a counter proposal eventually. Like, I can see if I see the times that I've been at ASP, I've seen sort of the kids becoming sort of familial with each other. As she said, that was a great thing. And as far as having the continuity of them coming every day, but a lot of the kids don't come every day, but they still pick up right where they left off with the other kids. And so that's not necessarily a strong argument for having continuity every day. But if you're doing something, I don't have the thing in front of me now, but say you were doing a piece of pottery or whatever, or painting or something, you ought to be able to pick that up the next time you come, even if the other kids have moved further along. But that's sort of differentiated learning approach, which is important too.
Maybe we could have them come in once a week and do a craft project for the last hour or in the middle or something like that, and we just pay them. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think the idea of the survey is great. I just want to say that maybe in the survey, Abigail, you might want to include what we're thinking about doing, switching it over, and see what the opinions of the parents are.
Well, perhaps I can put in a couple of multiple choice questions, so it's not just about this one opportunity,
Right.
but the degree to which they'd be open to other models.
Yeah, I would think you'd want to keep the specific business out of the survey.
Yeah.
But like you just said, if ASP was a program that required attendance every day, doing these kinds of activities, would you be interested? That kind of thing.
Great. I'll start pulling some together and maybe we could collaborate asynchronously over Google. So I feel like we're very productive doing things that way.
Sounds good. I like the idea of the survey.
So what we got out of this is we'll put together a survey to understand if the community, the degree to which flexibility is needed, and play out some other models and see interest. At this point, we're not moving forward with the partnership with Scribble. Do we want to go back to them with any, Linda, what you were saying, ask them if they would be interested in coming and doing a program once a day at ASP?
Well,
When you get all the information back, you should be able to do that. So, yeah.
So
I
I was
mean,
thinking,
yeah.
we do the survey, wait for that.
Wait for what?
Wait for the answers of the survey, but we can also direct them to the YouTube video that'll go up. And they can watch the presentation.
I'm not sure I'm following what you're both saying. I feel like we need a response to Scribble. So what's the response to Scribble?
Can I comment here?
Sure, yeah.
I think we just tell them right now that, we appreciate their presentation, and we're currently in the process of determining the best way to move forward. I don't necessarily think it's a necessity to have them at ASP, but we could, I could certainly say to them, if you guys are ever interested, as we figure things out and go through this process of coming in and getting to know the kids, doing some programs or activities here and there, the door is certainly open. And just kind of leave it at that. We're in the process of determining what our needs are. And I think, and then obviously that the 3/14 date, if we do decide to move forward at any point in time, the 3/14 date is not realistic.
I don't think we'd have a survey out in the next week. It'd probably take about a month to get that right.
And then even then, obviously discussion and really determining the best steps to take. So, I mean, really at this point, it's probably unlikely any of this would even develop this school year if we're being realistic.
Well,
Okay, so let's
meanwhile, they may choose to go ahead and try to run their program. I mean, I don't think there's anybody saying that they can't offer this program while ASP is in session. And then that actually gives us kind of a weird practical look at how does it impact, which doesn't hurt.
Yeah, and I think it's great that they're connecting with Michelle Mott, and perhaps they'll still be able to offer a walking from school option for people who choose to enroll.
Okay, can we table it for now?
Yeah, I think we have our action items of what we're doing.
Sure. Okay, great.
So would you guys then I'll reach out to them, basically stating what I just stated.
yeah, I think so. You could mention that we are, concerned with the families that we've been serving, and we need some input before we can fully move forward.
Easy enough. I'll take care of that.
Great.
All right. We all good on that? Any last comments? Okay. Move on to winter programming, Learn to Skate wrap up.
Okay, that's me. So I was able to meet with Lee and Jim. And sorry, let me just open my Learn to Skate wrap up document. Give me one sec. All right, so I was able to meet with Lee and Jim, and they had a really, really, really successful program. Some of the highlights and important info. So they ran it for children 2 years old through adults. It was, they had 13 Sundays. I think the last Sunday is coming up, and it ran from 8:30 to 9:30 at the Kent School Ice Rink. It was open to Kent and some surrounding towns. So Lee contacted Sharon, Warren, and Amenia, New York, to let them know that registration was open. The program was going on. $125 was charged per child, but there was a $30 discount for each sibling And anyone who was a volunteer of significance, what they called a head coach, they gave a free sign up to. Basically, they split the group into two subgroups, one of younger kids, one of older kids. Jim worked with the older kids. A volunteer named Don took the oldest participants, which were like upper high schoolers, and Lee worked with the younger kid. And the only thing they noted about that was in the future, they'd probably put an age cap on it, because having the older kids and the younger kids all on the ice rink trying to learn to skate at the same time, especially with the older kids just being bigger, faster, stronger, it was a little tough to manage at times. Our gross revenue was $5,095. And we're still trying to calculate expenses because we have not yet paid the Kent school. So I did get a detailed expense report for the year to date, the fiscal year to date. And we have not paid the Kent school yet for use of the rink. And there seems to be some confusion as to whether or not we're getting charged $200 or $300. Lee said she was certain it was $200, but Courtney from the Kent school, when we did the open skate, we're being charged $300. So I don't know honestly where we stand with that, but either way, there will be a no matter which way you slice it, there is we will be in the plus net revenue, if you want to look at it that way. Yeah, from what, but all intents and purposes, it sounds like it was a really, really great program. Lee and Jim were just so passionate about it. And at Open Skate, I ran into a bunch of people who had been there earlier for the Learn to Skate, and everybody was happy as clams. So I think it was a great program. Obviously, I wasn't involved really in any of it, but it's certainly something I think we can really build off of for next year. Any questions?
I participated in it, and both my kids, and they did it the last time it was available as well. And it's a really positive program. Lee, and I'm sorry, I don't remember her husband's name.
Jim.
Lee and Jim have a lot of great enthusiasm and passion for having kids learn how to skate. And if I recall correctly, I think they might have talked to somebody other than Courtney about renting for Learn to Skate, perhaps the CFO at Kent School, and were able to get the lower hourly rate. So you might want to follow up with them, because I think it might have been, I think they really pushed to get the lower rate.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I'll reach out to Lee.
Actually, I know they really pushed really hard to get the lower rate from
Okay, got it.
what I understand. So
yeah, I will I'll email Lee after this and ask her to you know, she might even be able to forward me an email record. So I'll reach out to
yeah,
her.
and they had great, it was really well organized. They had a lot of great games for the young kids to play. And they did have to really segment the ice for the different age groups. So as I agree with their observation that maybe the big kids took away from the vibe.
Got it.
Of the learning to skate.
Got you. Did anyone else have any other questions or feedback?
All right.
Cool.
I will also
Free skate?
say that if without them at the helm, I don't know what would happen to the program. So I think we just need to, you know, be sure we continue to connect with them over the year, because if they just decide not to do it next year, we'd be at a real loss.
We'd be up a creek without a paddle for sure. I think that kind of begs a question, and this might not be the appropriate time in the meeting to discuss it, but you know, Lynn and I were speaking earlier, and I know in the past Jim and Lee have volunteered. I'll be honest with you, just speaking plainly, it's I think it's awesome that they do it, but I certainly think we should probably have a plan in place. I mean, someone really coordinating an entire 13-week program should really be compensated, whether it be as someone who's hired as a temporary staff member to be the program coordinator, or in some other capacity. But I like I said, I brought this up with Lynn earlier. I think it's something worth discussing for the future. You know, volunteering to coach your child's basketball team per se is, you know, that's more of a volunteer gig. But when you're coordinating an entire program and responsible for the well-being of 50 kids with ice skates and the whole nine, you know, I think it's something just worth discussing. And I think Abigail hits the nail on the head. You know, we want to keep them around, and you know, any way we can show them our appreciation goes a long, long way.
I think you're gonna find it's hard to get rid of them. They've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, I know. Every time I'm talking to them, they're telling me about all their memories from 2 decades ago. So
Yeah.
To that end, I know that we all discussed getting gifts for people who coach programs, and I believe we committed to doing that moving forward. So we may want to get them a token of our appreciation.
That's an idea too.
Any comments on that? Okay. Move on to free skate.
all right, free skate. First morning of free skate of the three. First of the three was this past Sunday. And like I said, we had over 50 people, and we took in, I don't have the exact number, I made the deposit, but we took in slightly over $200, somewhere between $200 $250, and everyone had a great time. It was all smiles, and Lee and Jim were out there on the ice helping people out, making sure everybody was safe. I did the revenue collecting, checking people in, etc. And really it was a well-oiled machine and only positive things. And you know, Lynn and John, really appreciate you guys taking care of it and getting it rocking and rolling. And I think honestly, we didn't even advertise the program until like 3 days before it was supposed to start, because you know, so things were a little last minute. But I mean, to have that kind of a turnout with 3 days of advertising time says a lot. And I think we're going to do much better this Sunday. So, but it was great.
Okay.
Any questions?
Questions? No.
All right,
um,
sweet.
Basketball.
Abigail, do you want me to do it, or do you want to do it?
You could go ahead. You're on a
You sure?
roll. I'll pitch in.
All right, sounds good. So obviously before I started, Abigail got together with Brian Hastings to set up a basketball skills development clinic. We set it for children ages 4 through 2nd grade, divided into 2 time slots, the 4 and 5-year-olds, or the 4-year-olds and kindergartners in the first time slot, the 1st and 2nd graders in the 2nd time slot on Tuesday evenings. We didn't have anything tonight because the schools are closed, but we had our first session last Tuesday, and it went really, really well. Kudos to Brian, as well as Steve Penner and Jerry Decker, who volunteered to coach with Brian. Brian put together a whole lesson plan and everything, really, really put a lot of thought into it. He came with those lesson plans printed out so myself and the other 2 volunteers could follow along, and he kind of ran the show. Abigail checked people in, took paperwork, collected the $5 fee per person. And like I said, we were just under 60 kids signed up. And I think we had somewhere like in the low 50s actually attend, or the high 40s, I should say. And everybody seemed to have an absolute blast. So a real kudos go to Abigail and Brian for making this happen. You know, I just kind of stepped in and rolled with it. So
Thanks, Jared. And I'll
Yeah,
also
sure.
say it's a great collaboration with KCS. Michelle was involved in helping us coordinate, and as well as Marcy Sanders, the PE teacher, and they're very excited to be collaborating, working with us. And I'll also just advocate that a little mayhem with, you know, paperwork and money, and if there's any way to get online registration and also to be able to pay for programs online, I really would like to advocate for that. Um, I think it would streamline the process and make it easier for the families and easier for the volunteers. And
Yeah.
easier to manage the program.
Yeah, well, thanks, thanks Abigail, thanks Jared for that update. All I'll say from the Eventbrite side is that they would collect a fee if we did process payments to them. So maybe, and I can definitely pitch in here, we should investigate if there's some sort of platform that wouldn't take a fee for a nonprofit. Because that's my only hesitation with using Eventbrite, which we already use, is that, you know, if we're paying them and we don't have to, you know, that doesn't make sense to me.
So, Michael, I'm not sure when I mentioned it. It might have been during my interview process, to be honest, but I'm a big proponent of online registration and league management software. They usually come bundled in one, league and program management software. And basically, the town's website host is Civic Plus, and they have an arm of their company called Civic Rec. It's on federal and state contract, basically everywhere. And basically, they build out an entire online store for you, if you will, of all your programs, activities, events, free or charged, as well as, you know, merchandise or whatever else it is that you might want to sell. And that gets integrated into the town Civic Plus website. So basically, if I'm on Civic Plus, I click on Rec. While I'm on Rec, I see, oh, register for programs. I click on that, bam, it takes me right to the store, if you will. And then you can go through the catalog, add programs to your cart. It'll give you, you know, cues to answer once you've done that. Oh, what's your shirt size? Click here to agree to our waiver, blah, 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 the whole nine. It is really great software on that end for people to sign up. You know, I've used it. I used it professionally in my previous job, but I've also used it for like my niece and nephew to sign them up for programs. And it's super easy. It's super user friendly. But on the back end, as an administrator, managing the programs using the software is phenomenal in terms of putting together rosters, running financial reports. You know, coaches can have limited access accounts where they can email their teams, where they can download their schedules. It's a super great tool. And it's really, I mean, most rec departments at this point are moving towards that. And there is a fee for there's a fee per transaction, but the fee gets charged back to the user. So if it were $100 program, you'd pay $103, and the $3 goes directly to generally the company and the credit card processor. But I have nothing but good things to say, and I think it's well worth the expense, as Abigail said, not only for us but also for the ease of registration for our residents.
Yeah, that sounds great. I think, you know, I don't remember why we picked Eventbrite, but this is a nice thing we should explore, and I think it would also probably grow our park pass sales as well if people could do that online.
Yeah, well, I totally agree. I don't know anyone. I know a lot of professionals that use this software or similar, and we all just say it's a total game changer. I spent 12 years in my last position, and I went from accepting pen and paper registrations to fillable forms to the online database, and it honestly, it just changed everything about it. And everyone was so, I mean, when we rolled it out, we were like rock stars. Everyone was just so thrilled. And Lynn and I discussed it earlier today, and then I'd like to get a quote from Civic Rec and just bring it to you guys so you could see what we're looking at. They do their pricing based on the total number of transactions you'd expect and the total amount of revenue you plan to take in. So I couldn't even begin to compare it with my previous place of employment, but I can tell you we were bringing in our baseball program alone. We were bringing in somewhere in the neighborhood of $50,000. And that's just for baseball, but we were paying just about $2,000 a year for the software. So, I mean, if you were to reverse extrapolate that, I mean, I don't expect it costing probably more than $1,000 a year, and what you gain from it is it's well worth the expense.
We should, if you could try to get some figure rather quickly so that we can make sure that that's in our budget for next year's budget, that would work.
Yeah, I can, you know, they have reps for each area. I can reach out and just, you know, they'll basically what they do is they ask a bunch of, you know, preliminary questions, and then they work up a quote around that. So I'll see how quickly you can get that knocked out.
Cool.
Hey, Rufus, real quick, John here. What about the problems we're having now at the town hall with not having enough space on the computers?
With the computers and stuff,
Yeah,
that I think they're coming in with upgrading some of the hardware. And they
Okay.
think that's gonna help solve the problem. Ultimately, we need to get fiber optics into town hall. The fiber line that goes to the school and to the fire department, the town hasn't dealt with trying to get it through the railroad track right of way. So they're trying to address it.
Okay. Are we good?
yep.
The action item is that Jared's gonna get a quote for us to review, and hopefully we can get it in the budget. Awesome.
You got it. I'll get it as quickly as possible.
But that was a side.
Yeah,
We're actually on
what was
basketball,
even
basketball,
the original
correct?
topic?
Yes, but
basketball.
the basketball, I think we've finished, and
Lynn, have
it all
you,
comes back to what Jared was talking about in the beginning about our website.
right,
And I do, Abigail, I apologize if I hung you out to dry with a little bit too much to handle and as people were coming in. So
No, it's just like
I,
I'm glad I experienced it to understand like 3 forms and, you know, check, cash, signing people's names, you know, new people that haven't gotten getting their email addresses, a lot of people coming at once. So I'm glad I experienced it so I can advocate for a different system.
no doubt.
Lynn, do you know when you're coming in before the board of
Tomorrow at noon.
tomorrow at noon? Okay,
Mhm.
well, we'll just,
If anybody would like
normal.
to be on that meeting, it's a public meeting. We will be discussing the budget with the Board of Selectmen. Any support would be appreciated. Even if you don't say anything, just to be there. All right, let's move on to Mohawk Mountain. Julia, was there anything else? She's still here with us?
No, Julie's
She
not
said
here.
is she
Okay.
here?
Um,
No,
looks
she
like-
had to leave.
Yeah,
I think
Abigail
at
said she left.
7:30.
Got it. I'll
She
just
emailed
briefly,
us and let us know she had to leave at 7:30.
got it. I didn't see that. Sorry.
Okay.
I will just say too on that everything seemed to wrap up really well. I think there's just one issue we're having with the one person who needs a refund. They paid for rentals but didn't end up needing the rentals, and Mohawk said that no problem, we'll refund them, but we still haven't gotten any word back from them on how they're going to do that because they haven't yet done it. So Julia's copied me on all those emails, and we haven't yet gotten a response. So
All right.
we will continue to follow up.
Tennis program. Michael, do you have anything to update on that since Julia's not here?
Sorry, I was having trouble on mute. We have been in touch with the USTA to update us on their coach search, and we haven't heard back, but email was only sent about a week ago. So we're just waiting to hear if they would be able to have a coach for the spring program, because as we had talked about, Julie and I could do the fall again, but the spring and summer we would hope to get a more permanent coach in place for.
What, Michael, what are the qualifications for the coach?
It would be, so they would have to pass the background check, but as far as their experience, it would be more of a instructor level than a coach level. So
Right.
very basic, because the curriculum is all provided for them. So it's more or less someone that is, is able to oversee children and just has a basic understanding of a beginner tennis.
I know when I coached tennis up at Houstonic, I did the girls' tennis for years. A lot of the girls helped in Cornwall at the Cream Hill courts. You might look to Cornwall and see what they do and whatnot. See if they have any ideas on, that. And I don't know whether you'd even want to approach a high school kid who's been playing tennis for several years as a possible.
Yeah, those are
instructor.
good. Those are good ideas, Rufus. I think a high school age kid could definitely run a beginner's tennis program such as this, and even kind of maybe even add some excitement, because the kids could see them as someone that they're
Right.
trying to emulate or whatnot.
And Cornwall's I could reach out to a couple people I know in Cornwall, because they usually provided the best players,
Okay.
because they do have a pretty active summer program.
Good. Yeah, great. I'll thanks, Rufus. We'll wait to get the email back from USTA, and we'll also if maybe they don't have someone right away, then we'll grow the search to that.
Okay, I'll get you some names.
Okay, thanks, Rufus.
All right. Baseball and softball, Jared?
I don't have a whole lot to report right now. I reached out to the collective of towns in the immediate area that kind of run baseball, softball as a collaborative effort. And I heard back from one, and we're trying to set up a meeting for next week or the week after. So hopefully I can familiarize myself with the way things are done, have been done, etc. I'm not 100% sure if we're going to be able to participate in the intertown league, if you will. Just because I know zero about it right now, and I know from what I believe I understand, we didn't participate in it last year. So I think no matter what, though, I want to be able to roll out registration hopefully in the next few weeks, especially as March approaches, for kind of a comprehensive set of programs, all age appropriate, for 3 and 4 year olds, 5 and 6 year olds, 7 and 8, and even beyond. I obviously the success of basketball, there's no reason to believe we won't be able to have similar successes with baseball, t-ball, softball, etc. But I just don't know enough yet without having met with these guys and gals. Does anyone, Lynn, you've been around through it all. Do you know more about this kind of intertown crew?
Not too much. I would talk to Matt Meddy and Sharon and the
Yeah, he's the
Cornwall
one who
people
responded to me. Yeah.
that he'd be able to fill you in better.
What did
And
we do
there's-
last year for baseball?
I don't know that we did
Nothing.
it. I think we did soccer. Did we do spring soccer?
I don't recall us doing spring soccer, but I could
Okay.
be.
I think we may have done it in the past. Spring and fall soccer, but
Got it.
I would like to propose perhaps exploring an adult league, an adult softball league.
Would be
We had
helpful.
one back in the 70s
I
and
love
early
it.
80s.
Yay. So we
It
have had it
started out as
before.
a co-ed Wednesday night league. And after about 2 years of that, it became like a 16 league. I don't know. I've been involved with the adult softball league in New Milford for 20 some odd years, running that. And we are definitely on a downhill slope as far as getting people to participate.
That's everywhere, Rufus, unfortunately.
Yeah.
What I've noticed is so I've done softball now since I've been out of college. I've played, and I started running, an adult league shortly thereafter. And what I noticed is every year we'd lose a team. Maybe we'd gain one, but generally they wouldn't stick around. And over time, we've just lost more and more. And there basically seems to be no new blood entering the leagues. And I think you can attribute that to the fact that baseball and softball are also dying sports. So you have our kids who end up going off to college, leaving college, but they probably didn't play baseball or softball past 12 years old. And so the interest level isn't there. It's unfortunate, but every league I spoke to in New York, Pauling, Westchester leagues, Kent, Patterson, Putnam Valley, everybody had the same problem. Everyone.
Well, perhaps now that everybody's been on lockdown for 2 years, it might be an uptick.
Yeah, I totally
People
agree.
are really seeking for opportunities to connect.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I know it's, for example, in New Milford, for years we had 10 women's teams, and then 8, and then last year we had 5, and this year only 3 showed up. And they agreed that 3 wasn't enough to have a women's division. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. But if you
That
want to
stinks.
play New Milford, if Kent doesn't get one going, you can go down to New Milford.
Well, New Milford had those combo leagues too, right, Rufus?
They have, but even the youth softball is down in New Milford. But we have a men's league, and that's down to maybe 26 teams now from 36 a number of years ago. But the women's team is drastically, and it's no new blood, really. So
You had those combo leagues where you had men and women playing against each other.
they do that. They did that. They have a
after
co-ed
regular
league in the fall.
Right.
And then when the first year of COVID, we actually allowed women to play on the men's teams because none of the women's teams wanted to play because of COVID. And there are some very, very good women softball players out there.
Mhm.
So, and I don't know if they played in the top division, but they played in our B and C and D divisions. So it was fun.
All right. Anything else on that? Comments? All right, we'll move down to parks, seasonal maintenance contractor. Have we had any more things come in?
Yeah, we received 3, one from Ed Matson, one from Kent Greenhouse, and one from John. Give me the guy's name again.
John Bella.
Oh,
John
John
Bella.
Bella.
Oh,
John
John Bella from Gaylordsville?
Yep.
So all 3 submitted proposals, which were included in those documents. The way they did the proposals was all a little different. So it's you're not really comparing apples to apples, so to speak. So do you guys want me to share the screen, my screen, and bring it up, or?
Yes,
If you
please.
could.
That would be helpful.
Okay. Sorry, I'm having some issues here. Give me one sec.
I just want to say, while he's doing that, I just want to say that we have to get this done as soon as possible because everybody's getting their assignments lined up for now for properties. So, and one of the proposals was shows that it was better done than the rest. And it just goes to show you the experience that they have versus the other 2. So I'm not going to vote on this because I know both 2 of the companies. So it's up to you guys.
I don't know. I'm having some trouble here. I just don't know what is going on.
Well, I know him too, John. I don't think that's necessarily a reason to, that's totally up to you, but.
What I did was I walked, well, there was 4 companies, Scott's Garden Center down in Milford. So I walked to all 4 of those companies. I pointed out exactly the same thing that had to be done to each one of those 4. And I told them what was needed. And as far as insurance, as far as working, so it's all done the same way. And it's just, they came out with different ways of sending in their proposals.
I only see the greenhouse and Ed's. Am I missing one?
Yeah, there's a separate document because the other one just came in today
Okay,
after I'd already sent out the first ones.
gotcha.
It should say, I actually don't know what it says. Should say, additional quote should be the title.
So Jared, is the range we're working with somewhere, is the high 15,000 and the low, what's the lowest bid?
Well, that's the thing. One of the bids was only done hourly. So it doesn't, we wouldn't know how often we need him. John may be able to speak to this better, but I wouldn't even know how to calculate out what his actual price would be.
I mean,
This-
I'm totally puzzled too. I explained it to him and everything. And unfortunately, he thought it would be better to do it hourly. And unfortunately, we don't know how many hours it would take because, I was doing it on my free time and, I would take my time, but it's just.
Well,
Uh,
could we cap the hours?
I mean, it all depends. I mean, I haven't been there that often recently, but it could be done that way. But I think one of these proposals is right on the target. So.
Which
So,
one is that one? John, which one's right on the target?
Kent Greenhouse is the best one. And by the way, they do a lot for us. From the Memorial Garden, they give us a lot of mulch and a few other things that they take care of over at Commons Park for us without
So
even.
The $15,000 one? Kent Greenhouse is the $15,000 one?
Yep.
We only have $7,000 to use.
I know.
That's why I like Ed's. I'd like to see John Bella's.
It's
can you guys see my
it's in
screen or
the-
no?
yes. Lynn, in the attachments, it's called additional quote.
From today's email?
I
Yeah, it
don't
should
know.
be.
Yeah, I'm
Should
just
be.
looking at the meeting invite on my calendar, and if you click on it, it has all the attachments that are part of the meeting.
I see the attachments. I have Scribble, Agenda for Park and Rec, KC&E Adventures, Monthly Pit Reports, Director's Report, and Seasonal Maintenance Contractor.
Huh. There's one more there.
Oh, the additional seasonal maintenance quote.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why am I not seeing that?
Here, I'll send it to you.
It's on the screen now.
Yeah, it's up
Oh,
on here.
okay. That'll work.
So
And then I'm sending it to you too, so if it's easier to see.
Thank you.
Mhm.
The reason I like Ed's is because the other two are, maintenance fee. Ed will just do what we need. Ed knows the parks. He's got the right equipment.
What was his minimum on that quote bid?
5,000.
5. Okay.
And we only have 7,000?
Yep, it's 5,000 per season. That's his minimum. And then
5,000 per season.
per season, that's what it says in the quote.
Okay, so I think
Per
Getting-
season.
clarification on what he defines as a season.
Right.
That could
Well,
drastically change his quote, because if he's talking spring, summer, fall, that right there is $15,000. So
Mhm.
I think it's also worth noting that my understanding of the quote from
Scope of the-
Kent Greenhouse is that it's 15,000 per park.
Yes.
So they sent
Whoa.
over 2 quotes, both
gotta
totaled
sense that.
14,900 whatever. So
I think that's a little, well, my gut is that's a little out of our,
Absolutely. Even if it straddled our budget season, that's still way out of our league. Not that they wouldn't do a good job and it would be done properly and everything, but that monetary part is out of our league.
Most important thing is to vote on it tonight. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I just want to get it done tonight so we can set it up.
It's hard to, what did Ed mean? 5,000
yeah.
per season? Is that a 3-season quote?
yeah, or is he considering the season, I think that definitely requires
one second. Hang on one second. I'll call him
yeah,
right now.
Call him. Or I'll call him, either one.
Yeah, why don't you call him? He'll answer you. He won't answer me.
Okay, let me just mute myself. I'm gonna call and see.
Does everybody want to put this on hold for a minute and we'll go on to the other stuff?
Sure.
Sure.
I'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
All right, let's do that.
All right. You can unshare that if you want, Jared.
Okay.
So we'll move down to pickleball court prep. Were you able to do anything on that yet?
No,
No,
not yet.
fine. Don't even, not a thing.
Thanks.
Bartlett tree emerald ash borer treatment.
Yeah, I have an email over to them. Haven't gotten on the schedule yet, but I'll follow up once we do.
Okay.
Yes, we voted.
What's that?
We voted on that, correct?
Yeah, at the
think-
last meeting, it was determined that it had previously been voted on, so I
Right, great.
went ahead and contacted them, so.
That's fine. Is that still Matthew down there at Bartlett?
I contacted the office, just a general email at the office. So if you have a specific contact, that would be awesome.
Yeah, it's in New Milford, right on Park Lane. I'll see if I can see if I have the number for you.
Yeah, let me know. I'll shoot you an email now, just a reminder.
Yep, thank you.
Problem.
All right, Emery Park Camp Kent updates. Not much to report there.
Nope.
Okay. Budget for fiscal year 23. We stated earlier that we have a meeting tomorrow at noon with the Board of Selectmen to discuss it.
Yep.
If anybody can be there, please do
Is there a
so.
Zoom site?
I'm sure there is. If you go to the town page, you find the agenda. It's on there.
Let me see.
Anything else? Anybody have anything for the
I
budget?
just cannot be on this anymore. I think I have to leave.
Oh, Connie. Hi, Connie. We can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm so
I'm
sorry.
not sure. I'm not sure what you're waiting for. Is there something specific you're waiting for?
That was so rude of me. I'm
It's
terribly
okay.
sorry that you heard me
You're
say that.
patiently waiting.
Let me put my video
We haven't
on. It's
acknowledged
been a
you at
long
all.
day. No, you know what? I just checked the agenda and I know that the concerts are at the very end. And I also know that there's probably lots more time before you need to make any decisions. So let me try and extract my foot from my mouth and say to Jared that I'm so happy that you're here and can't wait to meet you. And
Yeah, I
it
look forward to it.
if we could connect, on many things. But with respect to the concerts, I'm sure that the committee will fill you in on the Land Trust's availability and willingness to partner with Park and Rec again. I'm
Awesome.
still so embarrassed.
Don't be
and
embarrassed.
terribly sorry. This is really a reflection of my degree of tiredness and not all of your degree of dedication to what you're doing at Park and Rec. So please accept my most sincere apologies.
You
I
don't
am
have to
gonna sign off.
apologize. You think that every person on here never thought that at some point in time?
Well, yeah, except that now, it's there for posterity. So maybe people can get a giggle. I really didn't mean that as any reflection at all on all of you that are here tonight doing this work. You have a lot to talk about, and I have enjoyed my time listening, but I am going to exit.
Well, Connie, forgive me for if I come off like a doofus, but have we emailed yet back and forth?
No,
No, okay.
no, we
So why
almost
don't
got
you
to meet
shoot
in
me
the
an email?
IGA
We
one
could set.
time.
What was that?
We almost got to meet in the IGA one time. I heard you talking to somebody, but I needed to scoot out. So I will. I'll send you an email and
Yeah,
let's
shoot
get
me an
together.
email. We'll find a time to get together. Absolutely. I'll definitely
All
make
right,
time in my
great.
schedule whenever you're available.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Yeah, of
Thank
course.
you.
Take care.
Good luck with the rest of your meeting. Take care.
Good night, Con. All right, so we did budget, 5-year capital plan. I don't know, when do we talk about that, Rufus?
When did we?
No,
Or-
will we have more meetings for that? Like, will that come up tomorrow, or is that just for the yearly budget?
That's tomorrow is for the operational budget.
Okay.
So we should probably try to just add $1,000 or so for upgrading the registration software,
Tomorrow, okay.
town software. And see where we go from there.
Okay. Bylaws and Constitution Committee. I know you haven't met, and Abigail, I believe your note said that you were gonna get another meeting together. So Jared has full Zoom stuff. So when you make your meetings, you
great.
can have him make them rather than Joyce.
Super. Thanks, Jared.
No problem, Abigail.
So we'll move on. Actually, we
Can
can
I
go
say
back.
one thing about the online registration? It just popped into my head and I want to make sure we factor it in. So there is a one-time, any of those online, anytime they do a build out, there's a one-time fee for the build out.
Setup.
Once again, I have
Setup.
no idea what that would cost, but it usually ends up being more than the yearly fee. So we paid in Kent, we paid Kent, New York, 3,000 for the build out, 2,000 yearly. So, I mean, let's assume the build out remains the same. Maybe you're looking at 3,000 one-time fee, then 1,500 yearly. That's a total guess, but just something to keep in mind because I didn't want you guys just putting 1,000 and oh, by the way, it's 4,500 for the first year. So,
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Rufus, did he call you back?
Okay, so you want to go back to,
Yeah,
that-
let's go back to the maintenance contractor.
Ed said that by season, he meant for a year.
Oh,
Wow.
great.
So be whenever he
big
starts,
difference.
whatever we needed him for the 12 months.
So while it's impossible to say who is the lowest quote, it certainly seems like Ed would most likely be that person. Now, don't marry me to that, but
Well, he said, I said, so what exactly do you mean by minimum 5,000 per season? We were a little confused. And he said, listen, it just my idea of how much it might be for the year. But he said, I'll work with you. And I believe he will,
Ed was born and raised here. Ed has a lot of interest in helping the town. He was on the previous Board of Selectmen, previous administration. He was on Park and Rec. He did a lot for Park and Rec when his boys were growing up. So he knows all the properties.
Great.
And he'll be good to us if we choose, not that the other two won't, but I think that we have three good companies.
yeah, it's hard for me to really speak to it. So I'll let you guys kind of do the talking on this one. I talk enough as it is.
Rufus, were you going to say anything else?
no, I didn't really. What was John Bella's? That
So
was
his-
that was like 5,000.
So John Bella's was done a little differently as well. So his was a $4,000 like kind of one-time first month fee at Emory,
Oh, I
followed
see.
by 1,000 each month. And a $2,500 one-time fee at Kent Common, followed by 1,000 each month.
Wow. Wow.
That's why I like Ed's too. It's because it's as needed. There's no other fees except what he
Right.
bills us for the work that is done.
Yeah. With the expectation that it'll be at least a minimum of 5,000 over the year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
know,
you,
the
and then you
problem-
said the budget was 7,000?
Correct.
So Ed fits into our budget.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem with John Bella is that he says maintenance each month, but we really don't know how much maintenance that is. I mean, he says what he'll do, but how much time he's going to put towards that, etc. Ed's is the only one. I mean, obviously, assuming that greenhouse is out of our price range, Ed's is the only one that is, we really know exactly what we're getting. because we're paying by the hour. So just food for thought.
I'd like to make a motion that we hire Ed Matson as our seasonal maintenance contractor.
Second.
Second from Abigail. Was that correct?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, it was low. Thank you. Any discussion?
You want me to vote or not on this?
No, you can vote, John.
I think,
Yeah,
well, if you
don't-
don't vote, I think we need you to, because there's only five of us left, right?
yeah, but I mean, Rufus is a full member, so we're good there, but I still
Is that a
think that
quorum?
pardon me?
I know, I didn't know how many we needed to have vote on a thing for a vote to work. And if
4
we
is a
needed to at
quorum.
least- Oh, okay.
Well, even if he voted as an abstention, he's still, but John, I think you can vote
Okay,
yay or nay.
as long as, yeah, as long as you don't have any problem with it, that's fine.
All right, so
You-
any further
you wanna go-
discussion?
Yeah, do you want to go around the table and ask everybody, Lynn, or what?
If I'm just asking for further discussion right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I'm good.
And we'll just go to the motion. All those in favor say aye, please.
I
I,
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Jared, you can reach out to Ed and let him know.
Oh, I have to go.
Okay, we're
thanks.
just about done.
Have a great rest of your evening.
Okay,
You
good night,
too.
Abigail.
So long, Abigail.
good night.
Night.
All right. Spring programming. Easter egg hunt, we can table that till our next meeting because our meetings are 2 weeks away now. And do we know when Easter is?
Yeah, the 17th.
17th, okay. April 17th?
Yes,
Okay.
I know.
Who knows?
Easter can range in like
Who knows?
a month and a half time range.
Okay, so we can come back to that at our next meeting when we have more members on board and stuff, but concert series, Connie left us. You're gonna get in touch with her, not allowed to.
Yeah, I don't know
Talk
anything
about right
about the
now.
concert series, so she'll be she'll hopefully be able to fill me in.
Yep. Movie series. Do you want to talk about that tonight?
Doesn't need to be talked about, but basically in a nutshell, I thought it might be cool to try to augment our summer concert series with potentially a summer movie series. Plenty of locations at which we could do it. Town Hall would certainly be in a nice place, or I don't know what our electrical situation at the Commons is, but basically, we'd secure the rights to movies, which you can do through Criterion or Swank is the other company. Usually it costs between $300 and $400 a movie. And, we got a big screen and a projector and we show them, and I've done them before. They're usually very well received, trying to do family movies, some live action, some animated, and usually they go very well. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot to really say on it. I just, I think it would be something worth at least, discussing, like you said, when we have more people.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And Jared, before you joined us, we had talked about doing like a Halloween film type event. So maybe we could use this to kind of move into that. And I know projector prices are way down too, so I don't think it would be a big expense either.
Yeah, at this point in time, they're not. It's not like they're the primo technology they used to be. So, we could probably snag one. And as for a screen, we look and see what's available out there. I know towns that we could borrow them from too until we are able to get our own. So I'm not too concerned about that.
Speaking of Halloween movies, Jared, you know that Rob Zombie lives in town?
I didn't know that Rob Zombie lives in town. I will say that I watched one of his movies and it profoundly disturbed me.
And I'll tell you, in
He's-
real
oh,
life, he's
he's very-
absolutely, completely a different person.
He actually lives across the street from Rufus. It's his
Oh,
neighbor.
nice. Very cool. Well,
His
Rufus,
voice
you'll have to work your
outspoken.
magic and yeah, when we do a Halloween event, have him come down.
He probably would.
We
We
tried
had-
that
we-
once before.
Yeah,
We tried that once before, but he was booked up for a concert, so.
That's right. He also has, he does his movies and his music.
Yeah.
he definitely would help us out. Or has agreed to in the past.
That's awesome. Great. Well, Lynn, I hear you're a big fan of Halloween, which I happen to be as well. So that's like my bread and butter season. So we'll have to really put our heads together.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun this October.
Definitely.
Yeah, I would book him early because his concerts come and go pretty quick.
Well, if I remember correctly, he said he would not do anything about the movies and things like that. I think we were gonna have him. Were we gonna have him like judge a story?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Have like young writers or something like that, and have him be one of the judges, if I remember correctly.
Right. Yeah.
Something like that.
That'd be pretty cool.
All right. Slamma Jamma basketball.
I spoke to Art Leary and he basically wants to run the program exactly how it was run last year. The only thing he'd like to potentially do is set up 2 weeks instead of 1. So last year he said it was run sometime in late July, early August. He'd like to do one early July after the 4th, of course, and early August. The pricing would be the same as last year, which, believe it or not, the one thing I didn't write down was the price. So I have an email to him, but I haven't heard back yet. He's away in Florida. But yeah,
It'll
basically
be
it
in your
would be run.
files.
What was that?
Be in the file cabinet.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure it's in there. So I will I'll get on that, but basically it would be the same thing as last year. And from what I've heard, it was a successful program. Did you guys get much feedback on that or?
It's always a very successful program.
Great.
So, can we make a motion right now to do Slamma Jamma this year?
So moved.
Thank you. Second, please.
Second.
Second.
Thank you,
Awesome.
thank you.
Wow, you guys make this easy. Nice. That was easy.
All those in favor? Say
Aye.
aye.
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Carry on with Slamma Jamma. We do this
Excellent.
every year. It's
Okay, so
a
it's
very
just a
good program.
formality. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep.
Yeah, Art really was he was really passionate about it. It was awesome talking to him. He clearly loves what he does and I'm looking forward to seeing the program in action.
Did he tell you where? Is that South Kent?
Yeah,
or-
that's what the one thing I was talking to Julia about this. He said, "Oh, we'll do it at the Kent Center School." And I was like, "How many people are you expecting?" And he was like, he was talking upwards of 40 kids. I'm telling you, he thinks it would work. I said, "Are you gonna like go outside a little bit?" He said, "No, all inside." I really worry about that many kids, especially the older kids, doing a basketball camp in that tiny gym. So I did reach out to the Kent school to see how much they would charge. But I haven't heard back from them either yet. And
Hey,
really-
Lynn.
I think South Kent was where it was run before.
Yeah. Gonzo's the guy to talk to.
Okay. Anybody have his info?
Yep.
They can forward me. It was run at South Kent. Okay.
I'll reach out and just alert him and then I'll send you his info.
Yeah. Just copy me in the email and we'll work it out. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't realize it was at South Kent. I must have misunderstood Art. That was my bad.
I think it's been a couple different places,
Okay.
kind of
Got
where is available. Maybe South Kent was all mashed up and everything and they didn't want their bubble broken. I'm not sure what they had going on last year. Mountain bike camp.
Yeah, give me 1 sec on that. Let me pull up the proposal. I typed it all up. So it's my understanding the mountain bike camp was run last year. Is that correct?
It was not.
It was not run last
It
year.
was
Okay, so
proposed.
it was proposed, and then what happened with it?
I don't think we replied early enough to get on their schedule. So we are
Okay.
gonna work on it this year.
Got it. Okay. So I spoke with Chris, his name is, from KC&E Adventures. And basically I'll
that's what
give you
that-
the rundown. The program will be split into 2 age groups, which is children 7 to 10 and 11 to 13. Each group will then be split into beginner and advanced subgroups. They will need a minimum of 5 signups to run it, have a cap of 20. This will be a summer program, obviously. So they'll be running 2 sessions. You can sign up for one, the other both. July 5th through 7th being the first, August 8th through 10th being the second. The sessions will run from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So it's a full day activity. Sessions will take place at the South Kent School with whom KC&E is contracting. And the cost per child is $360. If you add 10% to that, it's $396. They will do all the registration pending Barbara's sign off on that, because they have a complete online registration program, program management tools. So with us not having that, and we certainly won't have it by the summer, even if we do make plans to move forward, I think it's a no-brainer to have them manage that. And then of course they'll provide us with any and all insurance that we need. We'll, for a program like this, doubly make sure we're all set by contacting CIRMA or whatever they're called. I'm not sure. And yeah, I mean, they've been running this program for a while in multiple areas and, with much success. I got really good vibes from them, and, looking on their website and everything, I feel confident that this could be a really good program.
Any questions? A lot of times what we do is vote these in, and then, they do their, we all do our solicitation advertisement, and if it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
It doesn't. Yeah, exactly. It makes the most
So-
sense.
How about a motion, motion to approve the proposal for the mountain bike camp?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Michael. Any more discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
So,
Oh.
so it's pending the insurance policy, correct?
Yeah, which they've run this program in a variety of locations. Even I think last year they must have ended up running it somewhere in the near vicinity. So I don't anticipate that being any problem, but I will reach out to our insurer just to make sure that they stipulate exactly what I need to get from them, because obviously this is, all programs we need it, but especially something like this, it might be a little more comprehensive what they're expected to submit. So I will make sure that that's all taken care of before we do any advertising or anything of that nature.
And you'll touch base with South Kent School as well on the insurance, right?
Yeah, no, of course, absolutely.
Okay, all right, no problem.
They're contracting with them, so they'll be handling all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
I just wanna make-
I'll probably make sure that when I speak with our insurer that I explain that relationship to them and ask, what, if anything, we need to, I'm not the best with the legal side of everything, so I always like to dot my i's and cross my t's, because
Oh, definitely.
So the
That-
insurance company doesn't charge you when you call and talk to them like the lawyer does, so. you're
Exactly,
good.
exactly.
That price is for both 3-day sessions or per session?
No, that's per session.
Per session. Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit pricey, but that's why we'll leave it up to the parents.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
exactly it. They actually dropped their price. I told them I absolutely, we could not go over $400, because once you see that 4, it's like, oh my gosh. So they dropped the price about $40 for us. So doesn't seem like they could really go that much lower. I think they probably have to carry very hefty insurance to run a program like this.
Mhm.
Plus they're going to be renting the Kent School. So that is factored into their pricing. We're not doing any of that. And
Right.
they are also, to be to be a certified mountain bike instructor, my guess is it's not just like anybody teaching tennis. You need to be certified in, first aid, CPR, all the probably more extensively than just the basics. So unfortunately, I think it's just a program that carries a hefty price tag due to its nature.
Mhm. So we have a first and a second. Any more discussion? Further questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? All right.
Hey, Mike,
Yes, John.
can you call me later? I gotta ask you something on the tennis courts.
Yeah, can I call you tomorrow?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, great.
All right, next Park and Rec Commission meeting is Monday, March 7th. Anybody have anything else to discuss tonight? Then we will see you then. Meeting adjourned at 9:14. Thank you very much.
Thank
The
you.
budget 12 o'clock tomorrow?
Budget at 12.
Okay, great, thanks.
Good night.
See you there.
Night.
Good night.
Good night, all.
Good night.